5-minute item timing. What's up, Moyo?
Hello.
You
Late?
alive, Moyo?
Yeah,
I'm not late. I'm
yeah.
on. Well, I'm sorry. I just had to turn on my computer.
Listen, Moyo. I'm the one who's late around here, not you. We don't switch the roles of now, bro.
Sorry. But I see Shift is here. Hello, Shift.
Hi.
Wow, Shift is here, guys. We're in the presence of a big dog right now.
I've heard rumors that Shift might be the best ID12 player ever in existence. Care to comment on these rumors, Shift?
I mean, at the end of the day, I just think I'm another player.
It's sad, bro.
It is what he is at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter about the number. Just, the number just means he can beat you more.
But for me, it's like
could beat him. Like
there's
that
always a bigger fish.
that feeling when everyone's really antsy if they want to stay for the second tower. You know that feeling, right?
Yeah,
Where, like you take the first one, then everyone, do I want to go? Do I not? On the second, so Deucer just keeps going, and then Snake. Gets like a triple kill or something. Shift, you know what your number would be if you did play enough ranked to get it?
I think I would be around 800, maybe like slightly higher.
What a god.
I think your peak was like 400,
What's
right?
top one? 9K, right? Something like that?
No way.
No, I think it's more. Maybe
It must be more.
I think it's closer towards 10k.
Actually, yeah, probably, right? There's Gog's like, 9K, and he's like 150 or something.
Because 8k is like 300 or something now.
Jesus.
And I was thinking about this. So let's say the difference between 2K and a 4K is quite big. Is the difference between a 7K and a 9K the same?
It's bigger.
I think it's bigger. It's bigger.
Definitely
It's
bigger. Like
It's bigger.
I think it's the same. Like the higher up you go, like the difference between like rank 1 and then like rank 100s is probably massive as well. Like
It's just exponential because
Yeah,
the higher rank you are, the more stuff you are doing, and at a certain point, you're just doing everything better than the next guy, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like if you do everything slightly better than the other guy, then you're like a whole lot better already.
And even if they were like on an off day, they're still doing it faster, right? So
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
maybe they're tilted, but they're still doing the thing quicker by like 2 minutes compared to the other guy.
Yeah, that's like the whole meme with when you reach immortal, you finish the tutorial. Now you know everything there is to know, but you still need to do everything and everything really fast in a game.
Yeah. I remember being in those types of games. It just felt it's so disorienting. Like 1 minute you want to just farm top, the next minute you're like getting told to go mid, and the next minute you're in rush, and then you take rush, and it's like 17 minutes in the game. Like whoa. It's just so confusing. And I'm just this little poor kunka with tidal wave.
Yeah.
No, I don't have tidal wave.
I remember there was this one game where I got into like an average rank 100 game, or I'm probably brought down the average a lot, but everyone else was like above rank 100. And I was playing off lane, which is not my main role. And I just felt so slow. I felt really bad. I felt like I'm doing everything so much slower than everyone else in that game.
It's a weird feeling, right? Because you don't
Yeah.
feel that in your own bracket, and you don't feel it even when like I don't know, even when like you're in a bracket that's slightly higher, because maybe the ranked system's fucked sometimes, and you get put in a slightly higher game in solo. you don't feel that like, oh, I'm playing slower, it's my fault. You don't feel that. But the minute you're in like a much higher game, you instantly feel it. It's crazy.
Yeah, like I remember one time I stacked with like all immortals and Corey. I was with Corey and I remember like okay, like in my bracket I click a spell, I hit a hero. Very easy Dota 101. You click spell, you hit hero. In that game, I was playing Lion. I missed Lion stun almost like maybe like 60% of the time because he was like stun now, stun now, stun now. And it was just so much pressure to do everything so fast, and I was like, I can't do it. I'm not in the right position. I got to get there, and then I tried it, and I missed, and I just remember feeling like completely useless, and it was so embarrassing, like like me just and I felt like the 2K player that I was, whereas in my 2K bracket I don't feel like maybe in the 3K bracket now I don't feel like that player.
It's probably because I mean it's like they're in the bracket you're meant to be, right?
Yeah,
It's kind of how it works, I think.
I know, and that is a sobering reality for people who think they should be higher. Is that MOR doesn't
I mean,
MOR is not a great thing, but it doesn't often lie.
it's a
all
good
the way.
it's a good indication of your skill, I think. And anyone who thinks it's not is probably delusional.
I think MMR is like it's not quite exactly your exact skill representation. Rather, it's how fast you can improve compared to other people. Like even if you keep playing at the same level, you're probably gonna drop MMR very slowly because you're not improving anymore. Everyone else is improving.
Yeah.
Also, fun fact on Lion, I do believe, I'm not sure if it's a bug, but the stun no longer homes when you click it on a target, whereas it used to home into targets.
Okay, well, I think.
Wait, really?
Thank you for validating me just a little bit. Thank you. And how did you become so good then, Shift? Like, because not many times have I seen in RD12 people high MMR supports come in and do well, but you always seem to get the best out of your teams. So how do you do that, and how do you be so good?
I think it's just like the essence of my playstyle in specific, because I obviously started at like 3K as well, and my cousin was always telling me like, yeah, he's like the guy who's always bullying me because I'm the younger kid. So he was telling me I'm like worse than him in Dota as well. So one day I was like, all right, I'll prove it to you. I'm better than you. So I started climbing, and most of the time I didn't get carry role, so I started playing support instead because it was the easy role to get. And I started thinking like, what can I do to like enable my team every game? And from there, I like built up like a way to just analyze everything that's happening in my team. What do we need to win, and try to like enable that in our team. And I think that translates very well for support players. Like rather than trying to become this mechanical god from support role or some ward demon, you just like try to enable your team and like just think a lot about the game.
Yeah, it's crazy how few people actually think about enabling your teammates. Like, not even like a lot, just even a little bit. Like, maybe the Aegis falls, you just give them the cheese instead. And now they have like a third life instead of two, they have 3. Mm-hmm. And like, people don't think like that. It's crazy.
That's because we're all selfish.
True. I mean, you can play selfishly and still think about your team, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Just be as aggressive as you can. That's probably a good, like, if you're off lane, just be as aggressive, maybe. Instead of, like, farming in the safe areas.
Yeah. But I think that's, like, the main thing how I became so good. It's just, like, I only think about my team. There's often, like, games where I'm, like, level 1 for 6 minutes or something because I just want my safe lane to have more and more XP and gold in the lane. So I'll find out a way to win the lane without taking any XP from the lane. And I was like sacrifice myself for the team.
How long have you been playing Dota Shift?
For a long time, but only like maybe 4 or 5 years actively.
Oh.
I think I was around when the Dota 2 beta got announced originally, but I didn't play many games back then.
And what do you do with your life outside of Dota?
Right now, I'm trying to get into game development.
Oh, fun!
Do
you have the background, or like do you have like the uni degree or whatever? and you're just trying to get a
I
job?
do
Or?
have I do have a degree as well on web development, but doesn't quite translate as well into coding languages for game development.
And what's like the prospects for that? Is that good? Because I always think that like it actually takes like so many people to make these huge games, but
Yeah,
there isn't
yeah.
actually many huge games. There is only a select few, so it's kind of like a
Huge games, you mean like AAA titles.
yeah. I mean, I'm talking like AAA titles or like even like big MMOs or whatever. It does take a lot of people to make these games.
yeah. It's like there's a lot of things that goes into making like something as simple as a model. So you have the base model, then you have the animations, you have the textures. Like these are very simple concepts to put together by one guy. But when you start putting it into like a triple A level, it does take like a specific skills in that area. So you might have to divide it into like multiple people worth of work. It does take like considerable amount. That's why you probably see oftentimes when you look at indie games, for example, the graphics are a lot more simpler than a AAA game because it's just a lot easier to produce. You can just have one guy do the graphics, and then he's gonna do something simple.
Yeah.
Or even why indie games fail. Like it's
Well,
it's
you
a
say
lot of
that,
work.
but you say that, but then like look at like Cyberpunk and all that. There was like a catastrophe because
Yeah,
they
it's
just
all the
didn't do it
same
right.
idea of like too much work for the amount of like production hours or just the amount of manpower you have in an office or even in like your own room, I guess.
Yeah.
And well, I mean, because I was thinking, because like I was looking at game. Like, have you guys ever heard of a game called Dwarf Fortress?
I have,
Yes.
And I was looking. I cannot play the game. It is far too difficult. However, it is possibly one of the best games that I've ever, like, in terms of concept that I've seen. And to those who don't know, it's basically a script. Like it's run like a coding script. Like there's not it's you barely see anything that happens, but they've like simulated so much of like you're basically you're dwarves and you've got to build a base and mine and fend off enemies and stuff. But all the dwarves have like their own personalities and own way of doing things, and then you've got this history and like there's like I can't even begin to scratch the surface of how crazy in detail this game is. But
Oh yeah, this game. Yeah.
it's like
It's like Earth pretty much. So you can like look up specific individuals on Earth and what they have in their like bag and whatnot, right?
yeah, and like so here's a funny story from that. It's like they had these cats in the game that kept dying, right? These cats in the game that kept on dying. And what they realized was that when the dwarves get drunk in the taverns, they splash beer about and some of the beer falls on the floor. And then the cats were walking on the bar floor and then they were licking their paws. And they didn't have something in the script that said that the beer could get wiped off the paws. So the cats were like licking their paws like cats do and getting like massively drunk and then like dying from alcohol poisoning. And they needed to put something in the game that said that it can be wiped off eventually. But that's how like like in detail this crazy game is. But
This guy spent like his entire life basically making this game. It's like 10 years that he's been working on this.
it was just a coding script. I mean, it was just made up of like it's when you look at it, it's just and does that kind of game interest you, Shift, or would you be more like into like design?
I'm like big fan of like AAA games. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
but obviously like from what I've heard, that like working at a AAA game is not as fun as like playing it. So you're gonna be doing like a singular task with several hundred other people, so it might not be as fun. But I'm definitely a big fan of like amazing graphics, fun, fast gameplay.
What recent AAA or like big games have you enjoyed?
Oh, I think the recent one was the new Nier game. You guys know of the Nier?
Yeah, I do.
Automata?
I don't know that game.
I do not know that game either.
It's like a third-person hack and slash game.
Very
very-
Japanesey.
Yes, very anime.
Very Japanese, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it looked like the people who made it liked the game. I guess you could say there's a lot of stuff that looks very different and off the wall.
Yeah.
I think that's the one thing Asian developers do way better is they just say it like and the Metal Gear series, just any Kojima game really, and like all those types of games. They just like it's almost like the director's imagination just gets put on paper, while European AAA games are very rare to find that.
I
It's
mean,
more about
Western games are very similar in like the aesthetics. I feel like you look at the Witcher
Yeah,
series
yeah.
and whatnot. It's always like kind of dark fantasy-ish
Mm.
all the time.
Or even
It's
the
not-
story, you're right? It's like
yeah.
not personalized. Like I think Fable, the reason why Fable did so well was because it was, I mean, it's not like an Asian style like RPG at all, but like in terms of the fact that the people who made the game put in so much like quirky shit and interesting shit, and they just made the game fun for people to like play and also to like experience,
Yeah.
similar to Asian style games, which is why I think Fable did so well, because like everyone else was starved for something like that in the West. Did you guys play Fable?
I
I
played
have-
Fable 3, I think. Fable 2. I don't know. I played Fable on the Xbox 360, whatever one that was. Might be in Fable 2 or 3. I can't remember. But I did enjoy it. I did find it a bit weird, though. Like, maybe it was too sandboxy for me and that I could just decide what I wanted to do. But I always wanted to be good. I never liked the games where you can be bad. I like being a good person in the games. I think also a good mechanic that I've seen in that is Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. Those old PC
Oh, yeah.
games.
Oh, I remember those.
They have great storylines in those games actually, but they have cool mechanics like that. But that's cool. Like I think games will. I don't know. Okay, here's a question. Do you think games are getting better or games are getting worse?
Both.
Both. Yeah. I think the general thing is that it's easier to make games now and it's easier to get your games out there. Like you look at App Store or Steam, you have like thousands of games and you probably just skip all of them because none of them look interesting enough because anyone can just put like a 15-minute game in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's so easy just to do nowadays alone, but it's hard to make a good game and it's kind of hard to like grow out of the weeds, so to say. Like,
Yeah, that's the big part nowadays. It's just oversaturated.
yeah.
Like shift as someone who wants to get into game dev, right? Do you look at every game as like as if you were making it, or do you look at every game instead of just so how do I put it? Like when you just played, I guess when you were playing Dota, maybe when you weren't as good, so you wouldn't like look at things so analytically. When you were just clicking spells and making things work, you weren't like thinking about how they interacted with each other. But as time goes on, you sort of did, right? So that's the same with game devs, where you play a AAA game, like as someone who isn't interested in games, you just play it for the sake of playing. Like, oh, I have an arrow, I'll shoot a bow. But then when you're into wanting to get into game devs, are you like thinking, like, oh, how did they make this happen? How is this engaging? Is this a fun mechanic? Things like that.
Yeah. And I think in like when you're making something as well, it's a little bit harder to see it from someone else's perspective.
Mm.
I guess it does like in Dota as well. It's kind of hard to sometimes see what other people are doing or why they're doing stuff.
Yeah.
But for like them, it feels good to make it that way.
Yeah. And then I think following on from that, it's like breaking out from the weeds. There's only like so many styles before you get lumped in as like, oh, it's like this game or it's like that game, right?
Yeah.
Like there was this one title that came out before Overwatch. I saw a video on it and how it
Gigantic?
died. Yeah, that's the one, Gigantic. It looks so cool and fun, but because it just didn't have like the name of Blizzard, and it also like just got outshone by other games. No, like it probably was a better game than Overwatch. Like looking at it, it looked way fun.
It looks really fun. Yeah, I think the main problem was that they delayed their launch a lot because they wanted to just make it better. And Overwatch launched, and then it was too late because they couldn't compete with.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like, that's like comes down to what I said before. Like you just gotta outgrow everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
When you release a game, you somehow gotta stick out. But if there's already a huge game, it's kind of hard to like go into that market. Like there's for the MOBAs, there's League of Legends and Dota 2. it's kind of hard to imagine that someone would try to make a new MOBA and push it ahead of Dota 2 and League of Legends.
Yeah, and that's how games I think have gotten worse. Because before, right, like maybe like when the 360 came out, or what was the equivalent of 360 back then? I forgot.
The PS3.
Yeah, the PS3, or even that, like PS2, probably, like the old Xbox.
No,
Like
I
back
think
then,
PS3 would have
no,
come out at
I'm
the same
talking
time
further
as...
back. I'm talking further
Oh,
back.
okay.
It's like
Yeah,
the
PS2
PS2
then.
era and the Xbox era. That was like probably the best time for games. I think similar to like how like probably sometimes your best experiences with a game are like the ones where you're just exploring and you don't even understand anything, just because everything is so new and fresh. And like every idea, every mechanic, even if it's shit, is still just a new, fresh mechanic you can then just explore. But now it feels like nearly everything's explored, and it just kind of feels weird.
Yeah, I think that like I don't know, I'm kind of getting a bit fed up with games. It's the same with movies. I feel like they push out these things and expect us to like it without actually trying that hard with it, or not even trying that hard. It's more like I feel like they haven't put in their best in. They've done the template job of what a game should look like and feel like. But I haven't played a game that like I think the most recent game where the story gripped me was Star Wars Fallen Order, Jedi Fallen Order, whatever it is. That was actually a really great story, and I really enjoyed. And I watched like this hour-long documentary on how they made it, and they made it for like 3 years. But I think games, I just feel like they've gotten a bit template-ish, like a bit standardized. Here's the model of how it works. Stick to it. And I don't really like that.
It's hard to come up with original like idea for a game that's actually fun. Like anyone can like probably make a weird original idea, but making like original idea that catches everyone's attention is kind of hard.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I was thinking about like when you talk about PS2 games. I don't know if any of you played Ratchet and Clank on the PS2.
Oh, I love that game.
I know the memes. I haven't really played it, but I know
those games were phenomenal because they, in every level, in every part that you could go and explore, they always had secret parts that you had to go that were really tricky to find, and you wouldn't find unless you like accidentally fell somewhere. So sometimes I'd accidentally fall down a cliff and then like end up somewhere, and I'd be like, oh, this is one of those secret places, and I'd end up going and exploring it. And I just find it had just like so many cool like things like that. I just love those games. But maybe I'm looking at it with rose tinted glasses, maybe a little bit.
Probably.
But yeah, I just feel like my experience with games is maybe, I don't know, it's me getting older, but you know, just in general it's kind of gotten a bit worse.
Syrphx, what games have you been playing
Recently?
Yeah, except Dota, like 11 games a day for the past week. Or have you played anything else? Or is that...
Not recently, no. I mean, so I'm a big MMO guy, and I used to always play an MMO called Black Desert Online.
Yes, Black Desert Online. I tell you something, man. I love Black Desert Online. I tried so hard to get all my friends into it. I really did love that game.
The problem was, so they shifted from the old service to the new service, or some new server.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
And I remember a lot of my old guildmates telling me to transfer my account over, and then I just forgot to do it. So my account was really far into the game, and I had a lot of money spent over it. Got deleted, so I re-downloaded the game today, and now I got to start all over again. And that account, the one that got deleted, had like 3,000 hours on it, so I'm a bit fucking depressed. And I spent at least like £500 on it as well. So.
Oh, that is very depressing. But that game, so I got that game really early on, when it was still in Japanese, and I then when it came out, when it had like a wide release in the West, I convinced some of my friends to get it because it was the best. It's the best sandbox game I've played in terms of like you can just do whatever you want and it's great. And I loved so many mechanics about it. But the one thing that sucked about it was the kind of group mechanic. There was nothing fun to do as a group. Like we were all like level 30 something, and there was nothing fun for us to do together. It was all like individual stuff. and that kind of sucked.
Yeah, I mean the game has changed a lot. Like it's there's a lot more group content, but the best thing about the game is like the PvE or the PvP in the game. I mean, is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, because the
But
combat's excellent in that game.
but I need to see. I might message the support and be like, is there any way to get my account back? Because fucking Sag, bro. I don't know if it can be able to start all over again.
Yeah, it's hard starting like a game like that when
Shift,
you
do you play
grind.
any MMOs?
grinded.
No, not anymore. But I used to play a lot of MMOs as well.
Yeah, everyone has that MMO face. I'm going through
Yeah.
mine again now with Guild Wars, but
It's quite
Guild
nice.
Wars
to,
any
like-
good? I never even looked at Guild Wars before.
if you're on the inside, no, but if you're on the outside, it's not that bad. If like you just know, I don't know, it's pretty shallow, but it's designed for like people come home from work, they spend like an hour doing everything, and then they get off because they don't want to be like WoW, but they also want to be super accessible for everyone. So that's the payoff that you have to have.
The microtransaction things honestly ruins lots of experience for me.
Yeah, ruins
No,
most
no.
games. Ruined COD. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Ruined COD. Ruined Battlefield. And then fucking, I don't know, everyone was on this fucking World War bandwagon and had to delay an actual good Battlefield game for like 5 years until Battlefield 6 is getting announced this month. But
Is it?
yeah, like, I think it's the 7th or 9th of June it's going to get revealed.
Oof, that's
I don't
exciting.
even know if it's going to be any good. Do you guys think that's why competitive games are always so popular? It's just like, it's a time sink that never gets like, you don't never, like, there's no pay, there's no like skip. You have to like just earn what you've got and things like
There's-
that.
Yeah, I think so. I think competitive games are at a weird genre because, like, for example, Overwatch has a competitive scene and they tried to make it work, but really the game's kind of bad. They'll release a number 2 and a lot of things will get better about it. And then it's like, do you get Overwatch 2 pros and not Overwatch 1 pros? I don't know. I just think it's a weird. I always find game. I think the game has to be so good for it to be a legitimate esport. And I think Dota is one of the few that can do it.
And yet so many people, well, yeah, a lot of us say we hate the game and stuff like that. It's so weird.
No, I think Dota is the greatest game ever.
Shift, do you think it's the greatest game?
I think it's definitely up there. I think there's an older game that I like even more, and I'm sad that didn't ever get bigger than what it is.
What was that?
It's a very old game called Guns the Duel.
Oh wow, okay.
That's,
Let me Google that.
I'm not sure if many people played it, but as like individual skill level, I think the skill cap for that game is higher than Dota 2. And it's a third-person shooter.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. This game looks so cool.
So it was like a third-person shooter that was like all about movement. So your movement was like anything you could do in the game, it was animation cancelable. So you could make these crazy maneuvers with like chaining your maneuvers into different maneuvers and canceling animation in mid animation. So you could like shoot slightly faster or melee attack slightly faster or attack and block at the same time. And it was really good fun back in the day. And I'm like, I think there have been people trying to like make some kind of esports scene for the game.
Even now?
Yeah, even now. Like
Wow.
the original developers who no longer own the game, I believe, but they wanted to bring the original game into Steam last year, but haven't heard anything since then.
How old is this?
Oh, it's more than 10 years old for sure.
Yeah, there's a video gameplay first look 2009.
Yeah,
400,000.
I think that's like at least one game that's better than Dota 2 in for me. It could be like a little bit of nostalgia as well in there affecting it.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
But like that was like the game for me. Like if that game was alive, I would probably be playing that game instead of Dota 2.
Shift, where are you from?
I'm from Finland.
Oh, I totally recognize your accent. I just didn't want to. I didn't want to double down and get it wrong again because I think I keep getting it wrong. But that's cool. And do you like it there?
Yeah, it's alright in here. I'm not gonna lie. Recently, I've been not liking so much like the cold in the winter.
Mm.
Finally fed up.
Yeah, especially in my apartment, where heating is not really working up that well. It's not very fun to sleep in cold.
Yeah, it's not when your nose is cold. It's like,
Yeah, when I
so-
wake up and my like hair is frozen, you know.
oh my, what? That
Well,
that
not
should not be happening.
yeah. It's like
Yeah,
a
that sounds
little
rough. Well, at least you can run a hyper PC, and it can always be cool. You know. Yeah.
Do a ton of rendering. Just
Yeah.
leave it on. That's the
Yeah.
payoff you get, dude.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I don't know. I think games are just in a weird space. I think we're in that transition period right now. I think that we're in the middle of kind of what games are and what games should be, and I think eventually we'll reach a better point. I'm actually holding out hope for Elder Scrolls 6, even though I've learned better than to hold out hope for games because I just
Dude.
don't do it anymore. But Elder
Jesus
Scrolls 6
Christ.
is the one.
Bro.
What?
Moya, who knows
Honestly-
when it's gonna come out?
I don't care, and I'm happy with that because they're taking their time. They're going to do a good job, and I'm excited about that.
You're gonna be dead probably by the time it even gets like a first gameplay look.
No, it's no. It'll come. It'll come just like winter. I don't know. But no, I just don't really have any big hopes for games.
I'm not sure where the Western gaming like development is going, but I know the Eastern is going towards mobile. Like a lot of new Asian games are catered towards mobile players. And
Oh, dude.
I'm not a big
mobile.
fan of mobile games, but some of the new games that they have showcased, like they are looking quite good for mobile games. Like I wouldn't believe that they are mobile games. I think there was one big game, Genshin Impact, is actually targeted towards mobile players rather than PC gamers.
Yeah, it's just a roulette wheel, isn't it? With a bunch of anime stuff.
Yeah,
But I can imagine like those games just burning your hand through your phone, like just melting the battery in the inside, cooking it alive.
yeah.
Dude.
The only adverts I see for phone mobile games are the one that you get on like Instagram and that's like Shadow Realm Legends. level up your character and then it's just like some
Not even like
absolute-
what it looks like, yeah.
Yeah, it's like some absolute nonsense.
Battlefield are making a mobile game as well. For some reason.
Yeah. Speaking
I
of
find that-
those
that's such a
advertisements, have you guys been up to date with this MMO scam scheme?
Oh, is it
No?
the one on Kickstarter?
Yes, there was an MMO that was funded that was like
Yeah.
promising the world, but in reality, it's not really a realistic goal to have for how little they were asking.
Yeah. Is it the one where as well like the guy called off his engagement or something?
Yes, that's the
Yeah.
one.
Turns out that was also a lie as well.
Yeah.
So what people need to remember at Kickstarter is the people on Kickstarter have zero, and I mean zero obligation to use that money for what they say.
It's just a
Yeah.
place for sociopaths, really. Unless like you actually have a passion and are just a normal. You have to be like a saint to actually fulfill your Kickstarter and it not being trash. Like you just have to be so. I don't know. You have to have like a willpower for that to happen because every Kickstarter I've seen is just so bad. You seen the Juicero one? That was just a scam.
What's Juicero? No, I haven't seen it.
It was like a $400 product, and so they had to Kickstarter it. And the whole premise was like you make your own like cold pressed juices.
Mhm.
But in reality, what happened was you paid £400 for this machine that presses a bag of liquid that you get separately from them if you subscribe to them anyway. So you were basically paying for a machine that presses juice out of a bag. When people proved you could just buy the subscription, right, and just
And that would
rip
be
open
it.
the bag and put it in the glass, and you're done. And then
Classic.
they also figured out that the drinks weren't even that good, and you could just go to like a juice bar and get a drink. You don't have to pay like £400, like $400 plus like the subscription fee.
Mm.
It was just the world's biggest scam. Yeah.
I mean, there has been that. Remember that guy who asked for like $30 for a potato salad because he really wanted a potato salad, and he ended up with like 20 grand because people just kept giving him money. And I was like, that's so good.
He's just an entrepreneur. That's all he is. He keeps that money, dude.
Yeah, I think Kickstarter is like part of the wild west of the internet. But I mean, I've been done on Kickstarter before. In 2011, I put £30 into Star Citizen. There you go.
What?
Yeah.
Isn't that game still in?
Yep,
alpha?
it is the highest amount of money ever spent on a game, and it is still in alpha. Actually, I think it's in pre-alpha, and that was almost 10 years ago. They have like for the past like 7 years they've done like Citizen Con, like an actual gaming convention all about their game that has not been released yet, and you have to pay money to go.
Shift, how would you feel if you were a game dev working for a game that isn't even out of alpha in like 8 years?
I don't know. Like, I feel like you would have to like try to avoid that kind of game.
I'd
not make
just be
any progress.
depressed. I'd be so depressed.
I've seen some very, very ambitious projects from like individual developers, but they usually have like at least something like to show for it in like a less than a year because they're like putting everything they have into it.
I mean, you can play the game, but it's just bad, and all the things they promised doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And like Mark Hamill is like fully rendered in this thing. Like they paid him, and like they did his part of the story, but they never even finished the story. You can't play it yet, and that was like 6 years ago. It's just honestly, it's just awful. It's just terrible.
Yeah.
But hey, man, I'm here for the ride. My £30 is still going strong. So
It's like stocks almost. Jesus.
There
Yeah.
actually there was another MMO. I'm not sure if it was like a scam, but I guess people do call it a scam because they paid money and then never got anything out of it. So technically, it is a scam, but it was a different one from the one I mentioned previously. And they showed like some kind of gameplay in the Kickstarter and everything, and then they got the money. And then a few years went by, and there's nothing like new. They kept posting news on their blog, but like no new like gameplay. And then 4 years later, from the Kickstarter being funded, they show new gameplay, and it's completely different game. It feels like they just like paid someone a couple of bucks to make like a quick demo to showcase.
and then they didn't actually have anything, and then they had to actually go make it.
Yeah, then they actually had to go and make it because they promised to make something, and people were like threatening a lawsuit and everything. So just to avoid the lawsuit, they made something in like a really short period, and that's like I don't know.
No, people forget that Kickstarter, your money is basically just gone. If
Yeah.
they don't give you what it is, you're not getting that money back. But it's kind of part of the wild west of the internet.
Syrphx, is there anything you want to talk about?
So again?
You want to talk about anything, Syrphx?
Well, I'm leveling up my new BDO account, bro.
Oh, no wonder you've been silent.
BDO.
He's actually doing it.
Are you just on the grind? Like, are you just gonna like? I find the game too grindy after a while.
That's what I live for. The grind, bro. The more hours I spend in this game, the better I am than some random shitter.
No.
Wait, isn't it on Steam? Why don't I see him on Steam on it?
It used to be on Steam, but I might got taken off.
Oh, okay.
No. Well. Anyway, I don't know about you guys, but we're enjoying massively hot weather. Like in Aberdeen or in Scotland. Whoops, I didn't dox myself. In Scotland, it's like 15 degrees and everyone's out topless. Like,
It's raining where I am. My cricket training was cancelled because of the rain.
Yeah, it was raining where I was today as well.
what? It's like so hot. Well, I mean, it's not so hot. It's just like hotter than less than 10 degrees. So everyone's like, oh my goodness, get out, get tanned.
Get tanned. Yeah, it's just I don't know. I guess it's just summer, but summer's fucked now because of all this global warming shit. Like we didn't even get snow until February in my part of the country. I don't know about Shift. He gets snow every day, probably.
We had snow for quite a while. We even like as soon as the snow melted and it was starting to get warm, then it started snowing again. All of a sudden, it was crazy. But
I mean, like, oh, great.
You know something I don't like about the whole global warming thing, other than the fact that people deny it, is I don't like being made to feel guilty about global warming. It is not all. There is probably some very small percentage. It is not all my fault. that global warming's happening. The big companies have way more to answer than the average pleb. And I just dislike this narrative that if I don't do everything I can to possibly stop global warming, that it'll be my fault. I just don't like it.
The general thing for everything nowadays, right? Like if you aren't helping the cause, you are the problem, and it feels kind of bad in a way that like it's almost as if you are the whole problem, but you're just a really small part of it. Like it really doesn't matter that much if one person doesn't like try his very best to like put a stop to something.
That's true.
I also
agree that on you go.
Really has that mentality, then it's eventually gonna like lead to something, right?
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah, so a lot of ones make a lot, but really, we're never going to do more. I'm never going to be able to compensate for an airline, for example, or cruise ships in my lifetime.
Yeah,
just recycle the plastic bottle, Moy. That's what you gotta do. What the fuck are you doing?
That's it. Yeah,
you're the problem, Moy.
I am the problem.
Like,
apparently.
if you just recycled that fucking bottle, then those 3 flights to Myanmar would be completely energy free. You do understand that, right?
I know.
It's so stupid of you.
I just don't want to. I just don't like this whole idea that I'm being responsible for it.
Dude, you sounded like a Redditor crying about pros like being like feeding down mid or something. It was like, what? Why do I have to change if the pros aren't doing it?
Yeah, I mean, if pros are feeding down mid, then I'm always gonna. They're my example. Yeah.
Is there anything positive that the heat brings, except like the fact that you can go outside and feel good?
Yep.
Well,
there is good things. The fact that I haven't felt the sun on my face in a good 7 months. I actually feel the sun on my face. You have no idea what that's like. No, you do, but
I do.
You have no idea.
Maybe some Redditors don't, but I do.
Yeah, but no, just because you get the sun here, but it's just not that strong. So when you get a strong sun, it's like, wow, this is so nice.
And then when Shift gets the sun, he just burns to a crisp the second he walks outside.
Well, you have to evaporate all the frost.
I can finally melt during the summer.
Yeah, and then freeze back up.
Is it still not like sunny where you are, Shift? Is it still like?
Oh, it's sunny. It's sunny. It's quite warm. It's like only the winter is cold, but other than that, it's not that bad in here in the Scandinavia area-ish. Nordics, I believe, is the correct word.
I mean, Finland has always been a bit funny because it's kind of its own thing, right? Like Norway, Sweden, and Denmark were all kind of like legion to each other for ages in historical terms. But yeah, Finland was kind of on its own.
Yeah, Finland's a very interesting topic in history. There's a lot of stuff happened in Finland and with Finland. Like we've been part of Russia, we've been part of Sweden, we've been allies with Germany. There's a lot of weird stuff happening
everywhere. Just couldn't decide where you wanted to be.
Yeah.
All I know is that your language is untraceable. It's not Germanic. It doesn't come from the same roots as.
I think it traces towards Hungarian language, the roots, very, very long time ago. But yeah, it's very different from every other country near us, which is quite interesting.
Yeah, it's quite cool.
It just feels so because you speak a lot of English, right?
Yeah,
and you're fluent in English. So how does it feel like? I don't know. How it just would feel so strange for me, thinking about how speaking Finnish is the normal way to speak, or the default way to speak almost, right?
Yeah, I don't know. English has been a really big part of my daily life, I guess, for a long time. Ever since I was a small boy and playing some video games online, ever since then I started learning English. It became almost a daily thing to practice English. You know when you're do you guys ever think in your head and you can kind of hear your voice?
Yeah.
Yep.
So that voice for me is in English. So I pretty much think in English as well for as long as I can remember.
Wow. I guess, yeah. Would it not depend on who you were? Maybe, I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not.
I feel like you would probably think in the language that is the most comfortable for you. And like for the most Finnish people, I imagine that would be Finnish. But for me, it's always been English for some reason.
Are there like sounds in Finnish that you like just don't exist in the English language, or like just the way you move your tongue? So I know
Yeah,
that's like a big
there-
thing in Asia. That's why people can't like speak English in like
Yeah.
a pronounce it, not speak it. Pronounce.
Yeah, there's like the two letters that don't exist in English.
What are they?
It's and a. It's like almost like o, but not quite. So
Yeah.
and then a, which is almost like a, but not quite.
That's crazy. I don't know. Language is weird.
Can you do the alphabet in lowercase letters, Takeshi?
Yeah.
No, like say it, because we can say ABC, but can you go abaca?
Abaca, abaca, the f, g, h, e. Is that right? E,
Yeah, or
e, j. No, is that right? I'm actually lost now. It sounds so alien when you do it. Actually,
Yeah, it's really funny.
it sounds so alien. Is that this? What the? That's really hard. No, it's not really hard. It's just I'm on the spot as well. Actually,
It's just because like when I teach it, it's like I don't, because I teach it how it sounds so that their sounds can help them figure out how to spell. So if I'm
Oh fuck! That means that other languages have that too. Does that mean Finnish has that too? Shift, you try.
Right, pronouncing all the letters and
Yeah, but in
Finnish.
lowercase, like you would say it in a sentence. Like instead of saying s, you say s, right?
I think that would be way too hard right now to.
Yeah.
yeah,
I think I would have to have a practice run before saying anything.
Dude, that's actually really hard.
Yeah, it's just funny. Like, because I'm always like, I wouldn't say, if you're spelling hat, I wouldn't be like HAT. I'd be like hit, because that helps them hear out what it sounds like. Hit at. Cat.
Syrphx, what level you on now? Syrphx, what level are you? How many levels did you get today?
I'm level 10.
Nice.
What class are you playing? Because are the classes still gender locked?
What? Gender locked classes? What?
So on my non-deleted account, on my deleted account, I was level 62, which is like it takes a lot
really
of
high.
hours to get there.
Yeah, so when you get level 60 is quite quick, but then like level, or is it 50 even, that you can get to quite quickly, and then
now 60 is easy, 61 is easy, but when I did it, it wasn't easy.
Mm-hmm.
The highest level is 65, and that takes you have to know Life the Game to get there essentially. I played the striker class, which is the I hit people ooga booga.
I mean, if someone listening hasn't watched some Black Desert combat, you really should go watch it. It's phenomenal. It's awesome. It's the best MMO combat I've ever seen, without even being close into contention to anything else.
Yeah, nothing is close to the combat of Black Desert Online. It's just the rest of the game can be kind of dog shit.
I think the housing system is awesome. You can buy any house in the game.
How does that work?
Like, it just loads differently for you than it would for someone else.
Yeah, like you go into your own
there's only so many houses in the world.
Well, it's just good. It's just cool. Like it's not like strict. It's a good system.
There was an MMO called Arcade that had like a housing system where you had finite amount of land and you had to like claim the land. So as an
Sounds
MMO,
so cancer.
so you had like a land grab day when you had like a reset or something. So you have like everyone staying in one spot trying to grab as much land as they could.
Is that not like Rust?
What? Kind of. It's not like an MMO where like you buy the land and then that's your land, right? And then you grind on it. It's like Rust is just, oh, this is my land now, and now I'll build the base here.
Yeah.
But then it can never not be your land. Like no one claims of the land there.
That's actually one game that I really like as well. Rust is really fun.
I don't know if I like that kind of game. Never really go into it.
You're a liar, Takeshi.
It was fun when we played together, but I feel like if I played on my own, like, I wouldn't find it that fun.
Yeah, I think it's definitely more fun with friends, or at least one friend.
Yeah.
Speaking of summer and hot air, it's like non-peak gaming time when you have to sit on your PC and it's really hot.
Yeah, I
Maybe
know.
have some
Actually, no, I don't know that.
occasional-
It's never hot in Scotland.
Maybe have some occasional wasps flying in as well from the window.
Oh, like you don't really have any air conditioning, so you start sweating out, and then maybe you're in like a clutch. You're so humid in your room.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Are you going to TI
Terrible.
shift?
Huh?
Are you going to TI?
I'm thinking about it. If it's gonna actually be in Sweden, then it's very possible that I will go. Assuming I can get a ticket.
It's probably a bit late, right? Isn't it? In a few months.
I don't think it'll be. I think that
I
he'll be
don't.
able
I don't
to.
think. Have they released tickets yet?
I don't think tickets are out yet.
Yeah, the
Is it
tickets are
not?
not.
Oh.
No, they're not out yet.
I always thought they did it. Oh, yeah, because everyone does the accommodation first. Yeah, shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I messed up there.
Big mess up.
Big mess up.
Yeah, I will definitely like if I can get a ticket, I will probably go because it should be fairly cheap for me to travel from Finland to Sweden.
Hold on.
If they'll let you in.
Door just gone.
Can they let? Can UKs be let in now, Moyo? I don't know. There's the blue passport by Bozza. The blue.
I mean, the absolute worst case scenario, my dad does own a boat, and I'll just drive myself.
Just illegally get into the country.
Yeah.
And just be like, oh yes, I'm Swedish.
Yeah, I know very rudimentary Swedish from school because we're supposed to learn it as well.
Oh.
That's
Who
also a
knows?
very crazy concept for some people that Finns have to learn 3 languages in school. Like they have to, and then you have the extra languages as well.
That's crazy. Just a lot for one kid's brain. And then you have like maths as well. You have everything, and then 5 or like 4 languages if you want to do extra languages, right?
Yeah,
I would crumble.
Languages are hard to learn as well if you have no interest in learning them.
Oh yeah, that is 100% me. Or like you just can't do it for some reason.
Languages are always easiest when you are in the place that the language is being spoken.
Well, yeah, that's because you're pressured. You have to, pretty much, right?
No, it's you get a different experience of a
true.
place when you attempt the language.
Yeah, that's true.
Like I found when I was in South Africa that after being able to like lightly converse in the language, people just treated me differently. It was just a bit more honest how people interacted with me, which was nice.
You still had your Scottish accent as well, right?
I still had my Scottish accent. Always have my Scottish accent.
Yeah, but that'd be pretty cool. Like, you could speak their language and then just like, also like, I don't know, and they'd be like, what? Like, did you keep your accent when you were speaking?
I mean, I think
it's Afrikaans, right?
Well, I spoke Xhosa, so.
Oh, okay. Or did
I
you
think-
did you lose your entire like twang?
Well, I think so I think if you don't want to be, because like imagine you're trying to speak a language that you don't really know to a people that is their language, and then you like super over exaggerate like the stereotype of what they would sound like as you speak that language.
Oh yeah.
I think that wouldn't be good. I
No,
think
no.
that would be a bad
I don't
choice.
think that would be good at all.
Like-
that wouldn't be good at all.
Like if you went to Finland and you started being like, "Oh yeah, hello, my name is," and you started doing like the big sing-songy. I don't know. Maybe it's more so in like Norway and stuff where they like sing like up and down and they go like Norway, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think you should do that. Is my opinion on that.
No, that's true.
It's kind of like going up to a short person and like kneeling down when talking to them. I think.
Yeah. Whereas
Yeah,
like
that's
if you
true.
just like I think if you
normally.
yeah. Just try normally, but I guess inevitably it's going to sound like it eventually. So
I think I definitely when I was younger and I had a friend who wasn't fluent in Finnish, and he would like have this a little bit funny way of talking when he would talk in Finnish, and I would like in when I was talking with him, I would talk almost the same way as him, not to make fun of him, but it's just kind of like grew into me as well. Like when he
Oh.
started talking like that, I
Yeah,
started
yeah.
talking like that as well.
That's interesting. Yeah, languages are weird. Languages are very weird. Because like the one thing that interests me is like the accents, right? So like you know how in England there's like the Midlands, they have like a certain accent, and there's Liverpool or however you say it, right, Moy?
I mean, I'm from Scotland, mate, but
Yeah, but there's like the
Your
same. You can still tell the differences in accents in England,
yeah,
and
yeah.
there's probably differences in Scotland as well. Like I'm thinking like what would like different accents in like Finnish or Spanish or whatever be like for them, and like if those even exist.
Yeah.
You know?
They totally do. So like, so my sister lives in Spain, and the region that they live in Spain is like from Andalusia, and the way that they speak Spanish in Andalusia is like so Spanish. That's the way that she's described it to me. So like, if they were to say like "Cómo está," they would be like "Cómo está." They would just leave out the S, and they like leave out the S in so many of their like Spencer like and they and as soon as someone speaks like that, you know that they're from Andalusia. So yeah, it is the same in every country.
I guess, yeah. But like, imagine you learn the language, you go there, and like they start like removing the S's from everything. You just be so confused.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
That's scary. That's scary.
But people who are from these places will be able to tell you better than me. My
Syrphx.
sister explains it really well.
Syrphx.
What do you want, bro?
Syrphx. Do an outro. Syrphx, do an outro.
All right, goodbye, everyone. Shift's a god. There we go.
He is a god. I'm low-key wanting to ask Shift for tips to climb out of
Oh, Mario,
Legends.
you're fucked, bro.